Navigating chaos, a call to resistance leadership. Leadership is proven in moments of crisis, not through words, but through actions. We are living in a time of noise, distraction, and deception. Every day we see examples of leadership without integrity, leaders who chase popularity instead of purpose, who trade conviction for convenience, and who make decisions based on fear rather than courage. We are told to stay calm, stay polite, stay out of trouble, but staying quiet is how chaos wins. Complacency has become the new corruption, and we've accepted it. We've let drift replace direction. We've confused comfort for peace. We've tolerated mediocrity because we're exhausted. That's what is, but it doesn't have to stay that way. What if leadership looked different? What if leadership was an act of resistance, not only against authority, but against apathy? Not against people, but against the forces that keep us small, silent, or afraid. That's what I call resistance leadership. It's not a slogan, it's a standard. Resistance leadership is the deliberate act of standing firm against unethical power, of refusing to enable incompetence, of holding yourself and others accountable to something higher than comfort. It's not rebellion for its own sake, it's responsibility when others abdicate. It's principled defiance in a world that rewards moral compromise. And make no mistake, if you lead today, you will face pressure to compromise. Pressure to appease, pressure to stay neutral while harm is being done. That's why we need a different kind of leadership. Not the loudest, not the most liked, but the most grounded. Let's be honest about the world we're leading in. We've built organizations obsessed with optics and allergic to accountability. We measure everything except character. We promote confidence over competence. We praise the people who look like leaders and overlook the ones actually leading. We are flooded with information and starving for wisdom. We scroll instead of studying. We react instead of reflecting. And in that fog, fear creeps in. Fear of saying the wrong thing, fear of standing alone, fear of losing followers, funding, or face. Authoritarians in business and politics and culture know how to weaponize that fear. They thrive on confusion. They count on exhaustion. They win when good people hesitate. That's the environment we're navigating. That's the chaos. But there's another way. When the world spins in chaos, the leader's job is to bring clarity. When others drift, you're the anchor. When fear rises, you stay steady. When people lose faith, you lead anyway. Clarity is not a soft skill. It is an act of rebellion. Because when you are clear about your values, your purpose, and your boundaries, manipulation loses its grip. That's why I ask every leader I work with to define 3 words, your non-negotiable foundation. 1 value you will never betray. 1 strength you can always rely on. 1 aspiration that gives your leadership meaning. 3 words, 1 you. That clarity, that simplicity becomes your shield when chaos comes for you. You won't always have a plan, you won't always have control, but if you have conviction, you won't drift. For too long, we've been told that leadership means saying yes. Yes to pressure, yes to politics, yes to protecting the brand instead of the truth. But resistance leadership knows when to say no. No, we will not betray our values. No, we will not let fear govern our choices. No, we will not confuse civility with complicity. Saying no is not defiance for its own sake. It is the disciplined refusal to participate in the erosion of purpose. Progress is not just what we agree to, it's what we refuse to allow. Every time you say no to fear, you strengthen your leadership integrity. That's how we resist, 1 principled no at a time. Now, when some people hear resistance, they think of anger, protest, shouting, confrontation. But sustainable resistance is not fueled by rage, it's fueled by resolve. That's where JACK comes in, a 4-part framework for fighting authoritarianism without losing yourself. Joy, action, care, and knowledge. Let's break that down. Joy keeps us human. It reminds us why we fight. Authoritarianism thrives on despair, on people giving up. Joy is how we say, you can't have my spirit. Action turns conviction into movement. It's what separates leaders from commentators. Complaining is easy. Organizing, voting, mentoring, building, that's where change happens. Care sustains the fight. Without care for ourselves and others, resistance collapses under burnout. Self-care isn't selfish, it's strategic. And knowledge, that's your armor. Truth cuts through propaganda. It's what keeps you from being manipulated or distracted by the noise. Joy, action, care, knowledge. Together they form sustainable resistance. You don't have to live in all four at once, but you do have to move among them deliberately. When you lose joy, find it. When you're stuck in knowledge, act. When you're tired, rest and care. When you've drifted, learn again. Authoritarians don't know jack, but you do. Every crisis reveals the truth about our leadership. Some people freeze, some people flee, and some people rise, not because they're fearless, but because they're clear. In Navigating Chaos, I describe 7 archetypes of effective leadership during crisis. The communicator, who rallies people around a shared message. The strategic planner, who turns chaos into order. The bold change agent, who challenges the status quo. The trusted ally, who provides safety and stability. The resourceful builder, who fixes what's broken and creates systems that work. The nurturer of talent, who keeps the human spirit alive. And the ethical decision maker, who protects integrity when it's under attack. You do not need to be all 7, but you must know which one you are and who you need beside you. Leadership isn't solitary, it's a continuum. When you collaborate across these archetypes, you create something rare, resilience. That's how movements endure. That's how organizations survive storms. That's how democracies hold. The biggest leadership crisis we face isn't a lack of ideas, it's a lack of accountability. We have brilliant strategists, visionary storytellers, and powerful platforms, but too few leaders are willing to say, I was wrong. Too few will ask, how did I contribute to this mess? Accountability isn't punishment, it's the foundation of trust. Without it, leadership becomes a performance, all optics, no substance. We can't fix what we refuse to own, and we can't lead what we won't hold accountable. In an age of endless information, attention is your most valuable resource. That's why I teach leaders to use the information triage model, a simple system to separate what's urgent from what's just loud. Imagine your mental kitchen. What belongs on the front burner demands your action now. What sits on the back burner needs watching and preparation. What stays on the countertop just needs awareness. And everything in the freezer, the distractions, the outrage bait, the performative noise, needs to stay frozen. Most leaders burn out not because they lack capacity, but because they're cooking on every burner at once. You can't lead if you're reacting to everything. You lead when you decide what truly deserves your focus. We don't need more leaders seeking applause. We need leaders who choose courage over comfort, responsibility over excuses, and integrity over image. We need leaders who are not seduced by cynicism, leaders who will say, not us, not today. Resistance leadership isn't about taking up arms, it's taking up accountability. It's leading with clarity when the world wants you confused. It's standing tall when fear tells you to bow. You don't need a title to lead. You don't need permission to act. You need purpose and a spine to match it. This is the time. You are the leader. When others drift, you secure the anchor. When others mumble, you speak up. When others compromise, you stand. The world doesn't change because we wish it would. It changes because principled people decide it must. Lead with relentless integrity. Set the tone, command the focus. Be loud with your joy, relentless in your action, grounded in your care, and sharp in your knowledge. That's how we navigate chaos. That's how we resist. That's how we lead better. You can download Navigating Chaos Principled Defiance, a call to lead better, at karlbimshasconsulting.com. This has been Karl Bimshas. Thanks for listening. Keep advancing confidently in the direction of your dreams and help others along the way.